Alright, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Hearts of Iron 4, The New Order, Last Days of Europe, as the Russian Federation. Now, last video, we dealt with some terrorists, which is always fun. And I'm going to try to record at least a little bit before I have to go to my rehearsal. So, what we're going to do, we're going to expand monument and reconstruction efforts. That'll be fun. The monument to Moscow is what made our glorious capital truly shine. So many beautiful sights that, once upon a time, were a testament to our strength, ingenuity, and intelligence as a nation. Now they lie in ruin, left to rot, or made into practice targets by the Wehrmacht. Their treatment by the Wehrmacht was horrifying. Centuries of Russian achievement destroyed. The Kremlin, the heart of Moscow, turned into a mere military base for the Wehrmacht. This is unacceptable. We need to restore lost history as quickly as possible, no matter the cost. Their value to our people, the lessons they leave, no matter how dark they may be, are invaluable in ensuring that the mistakes of the past are never repeated. There we go. So, Chad, Eric, mainly, if you're still around, of course, how are you guys doing? I figured it's a good time to ask that. Especially since, we were talking about a kind of a heavier topic before I started recording. Doing good, glad to hear, glad to hear. We'll do a little lobbying, why not? Doing good. There we go. Let's get some more rubbers. And then... I don't know, what do we want to build? There's not much in Ukraine, actually, which is interesting. Let's go ahead and build some stuff in Ukraine. But, yeah. Well, there we go. How's, Buffalo Wild Wings treating you? Because I know you're getting ready to head over to there. And actually, I've never been to Buffalo Wild Wings. There was one that opened up in my town for like a year. No one went. We all sort of forgot about it. And so, I'm morbidly curious. I'd kind of like to go to one because I've become a wing guy. I was a little late on the wing train, but I started getting them and I fucking love them now. But took me a while. And yeah. I love wings and chicken in general, but I'm starting to hate just because I eat so much now that I get a free meal every day. Ooh, yeah. I mean, there's such a thing as too much of a good thing, I guess. So like half my meals, fuck. I mean, me now thinks that's not that bad. If I had to do that for a while, I'd probably get annoyed. So I get that. Vasily Shukshin stood silently with Alexander Novikov at his side of the Red Square, where months ago the Victory Day parade had been held in celebration of Russia's great victory over Germany. Shukshin looked up to the monument of Menin and Pozarsky, now fully restored by the Federation's finest sculptors. The monuments created in the 19th century, during the age of the Tsars. During the Battle of Moscow in 1941, Menin's face had been blown apart by a stray artillery shell intended for St. Basil's Cathedral. Following the Great Patriotic War, the monument was made a firing range by Wehrmacht to train the recruits to fire weapons. Vasily remembered just how horrified he had been by seeing the bullet holes that painted the front of the monument. Vasily smiled at the statues of some of Russia's finest, with scars of occupation now gone forever. Vasily looked behind the statue of the cathedral itself, which was covered in scaffolding as Russia's construction workers continued working tirelessly to restore the iconic building to its former glory. Tell me, Alexander, Shukshin spoke, do you ever think things will be the way, like they were before the war and the chaos? Will Germans and Russians ever greet each other as brothers? Shukshin asked as he placed a hand on the smooth stone of the monument. Novikov was silent for a moment as he thought deeply about the president's question. They'd finally beaten the Germans, and now the motherland was on the long road to recovery. But could Russia truly move on from what the Germans had done to her? If the scars of the wars ever truly heal? Alexander took a deep breath, looking towards his ever-patient president. One day, perhaps. I eat twice a day, and one of us is usually from work. I mean, it's not a bad way to save money, but if you want to eat something other than wings, I get that. My dad loves sushi, but he told me that when he went to Japan, it was just nothing but sushi all the time, and so he got fucking tired of it. And there's a cultural thing in Japan where you only drop like a bit of soy sauce in like the ramen or the sushi, because too much is supposed to overpower what it's supposed to taste like. And that's viewed as, you know, disrespectful to the chef. But eventually he was just like, fuck, I don't care. So I get that. There's such a thing as too much of something you like. I mean, I like sushi plenty now, but yeah. Let's modernize construction equipment. The construction equipment of the West Russian Reconstruction Zone is in comparison to the Federation's equipment is rather outdated, with many construction projects taking many more weeks to complete than the modern tools of the workers of the Russian Federation currently enjoy. If we wish to rebuild the administrative hard of Muscovy as swiftly as possible, it would be pertinent to support their reconstructive efforts and send some of the Federation's construction equipment to West Russian Reconstruction Zone. Good for saving money. I leave a grocery shop once a month, but fuck, I'm starting to get sick and my stomach at the thought of eating it some days. I don't blame ya. I mean, how good are Buffalo Wild Wings wings anyway? Because, I mean, I go to Wingstop, because that's a big wing place whenever I go down to my healthcare provider. Because, you know, you go to a bigger city, you want to have food that you don't usually have. So I go to Wingstop, usually, because I do like wings. And I'm usually excited to have Wingstop, like, oh yeah, I'm going to Wingstop, I don't get to do this usually, this is going to be great. And then I sort of eat them, and I'm like, they're alright. The fries at Wingstop are fucking bomb. They're probably my favorite thing at Wingstop, but the wings, they're okay, but they could be better, you know? Like, what's the verdict on Buffalo Wild Wings wings? They're decent if you eat them right away, but usually an hour or two after it's cooked, because of when I have to order. True. Yeah, okay, I get that. Ooh, very nice. After years of separation, the Far East is finally ready to rejoin our motherland. Across the Federation, the people are celebrating the return of rightful Russian land as the President continues to fulfill his promise, liberating all Russian citizens from the oppression of the tyrannical powers and reintegrating rightful territories into the Russian Federation. Welcome to the motherland. Alright, so we do have to core these up, which is okay. One is only going to... This is going to take 1 day. Funny enough. This is going to take a little bit more. And okay, we have, majority culture of state Russian with large Congo majority. Okay, that's interesting. So it's not just automatically Russian. It has a little blurb that keeps it. Yeah, is it like how McDonald's fries are good when you have them, but then after a while they revert back to the packaging peanut, or whatever they're actually made of? Okay, modernized construction equipment. Let's go ahead and get the heart of Russia. Our sacred Moscow, the heart of Russia, has been reconstructed back to its former glory. With symbol of strength of Russia now restored, we can now turn our attention to beyond the borders of the great city to the wider West Russian Reconstruction Zone, in address of many problems plaguing the scarred region. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, I gotcha. You gotta get to work. Enjoy your stream. Talk to you later. Sounds good, Eric boy. Well, there go the wings discussion we were having. What else am I going to talk about now? I mean, I want to talk about wings, but I don't have anyone to talk to. So it's... Damn. The life of a streamer. Alright, we got an event, at least we can read that. Novkov looked around the at the rebuilt Red Square. After weeks of reconstruction, the walls of the mighty Kremlin and everything within it had been restored, as was the rest of the city of Moscow. When Alexander first arrived in Moscow, it was a wasteland of ruined buildings and poor but hopeful people, all coated in dust and ash as a result of the Battle of Moscow. The city was a mess, the Kremlin itself was barely standing. For a while, Novikov believed the city could never be rebuilt to what it once was. Yet as he looks at the heart of the Kremlin, noticing some native Muscovites visiting the heart of their city, he couldn't be happy to be proven wrong. Of course, Moscow was only the first step in the Federation's reconstruction efforts. Much of Western Russia's great cities, such as Smolensk, Tver, Tula, Ryazan, Voronezh, and many others, were still struggling to recover from decades of damage. There were some under his command who believed that trying to restore what remained of West Russia to its former glory was a futile effort, thinking it would have been better to have these achievements of Mother Russia knocked down again and built from scratch. Perhaps once Novikov would have agreed, but after seeing what he had accomplished in Moscow, he couldn't help but scoff at the idea. If the great city of Moscow could reclaim its former glory, then the entirety of Western Russia could easily do the same. Western Russia shall find its golden age once more. Soon enough, memories of what shall be restored to how they once were. The decades of damage will be reversed, and a bright new golden dawn shall rise over the west. Novikov chuckled as he looked back up at the spires of St. Basil's Cathedral. When had he been so idealistic? Novikov continued to smile as he began a slow return journey back to his office. Perhaps Yukshin's idealism was finally getting to be old general. Our sacred city reborn and lively, forevermore. Okay. What do we want to do? Oh, I'm getting called on Snapchat now. Oh dear. What is it with everyone calling me now? Fuck. No one calls me, and then I start streaming and recording, and fucking everyone, and all of a sudden, I'm the most popular person in the fucking county. Jesus. Go figure. For decades, Muscovy has been seen by the world as the backwater of Europe, a poor rural subject of the Reich. Any progress made in urbanizing and industrializing these lands was quickly undone during our advance into the Reichskommissariat Moscovian. With Muscovy firmly under control, our first step should be to urbanize these lands as soon as possible, starting with modernizing the agricultural industries of the West, lifting the peasants out of poverty and bringing it up to par with the rest of the Russian Federation. Oh, I gotta text my buddy. Alright, so let's get back to what we were doing. Yukshin opened the folder on his desk and his head began to spin. There were countless charts, figures, facts, numbers, literally hundreds of sheets of paper arguing for his attention. One described the oil output of Central and West Siberia. Another pointed to a deficit of precarious metals and argued to direct resources from military to unspecified project. Another posited the probability of long-term cooperation between the Federation and the OFN. But the item that caught his attention the most was the cover page, a simple drawing of a phoenix captain with rewards, Operation Zorya. Gentlemen, I can't make heads or tails of this. Give me the executive summary. You have 5 minutes. See, this is why I like him so much. Anatoly Yahuntov, chief financial officer of Titan Group, said to his shriveled companion. Baxter knows what he wants. He turns back to the President Yukshin, his incisors gleaming with a salesman smile. We're proposing a public-private partnership between your government and our new subsidiary, Titan Aeronautics. We need investment capital, and we think you'd like to create jobs in the greater Moscow area, considering how much damage Nazis cause. I'm listening. What are you suggesting? Passenger transport planes? Jet fighters? We're going to target the domestic market or sell abroad? None of the above. We want to help start the Federation space program. Surprise struck President Yukshin like a bolt of lightning. A space program? Mr. Yantov, we're still reconstructing Moscow, not to mention our other territorial gains. How could I possibly convince the Assembly to fund the project? The Palace of the Sun shall open and emit glory from its gates. Ooh, the space thing sounds fun. I don't know if we're going to have enough time, because I was kind of talked about this. I forget if I talked about it right before we started recording or around the time we started recording. But I have maybe time to do one video of this. Might do a longer video, but still. Then I got to get ready for my rehearsal. Then after that, I might stream later, but I might take a while to get back home. Let's just up everything there. And then we'll do some research. Sorry about that. Let's do some more lobbying. And Jesus, we're doing. Let's build a reactor there. Reactor there. Reactor there. A reactor there. Why not? Reactor here seems pretty fun thematically. And then we still have a bunch of building slots. Jesus. This is the Russian economy for you, boys. What can I say? Let's do thematic stuff, roleplay stuff. I don't know. All I know is it makes sense to build. It would make sense to want to build radar all over here, so let's do it. So we can afford to do some roleplay stuff nowadays. And then let's build up Vladivostok, some anti-air, some air bases. You max out on that. And then some more civilian industry. And actually, we gotta max out all this. What am I thinking? How could I forget to do that? Anyway, let's get back to that. And that'll keep us satiated for like an in-game month. The town of Dimitrov was an ancient settlement with no knowledge about modern production on the outskirts of the city of Moscow. The Ministry of Agriculture saw an opportunity to test a larger modernization project. Let me open up. That could serve as a model for future development of rural communities. Farmers were disturbed very early in the morning as immense convoys with supplies of all kinds rushed towards the dusty roads of the town, and planners took over the barely pavimented historical center. Those who could speak Russian were required by the arriving officials to assist to a meeting and what remained of the Assumption Cathedral. The reasons remain unknown, but the outrage was on the rise. As Russian speakers were gathered and the stage was organized, murmurs came shoutings of desperation due to the lack of explanations. When everyone was present, a delegation appeared on stage. By orders of the Ministry of Agriculture and the government of the Moscow Oblast, this town has been designated in its whole area as an area marked for development. We have gathered you early today, informing you that your plots will now be subsidized and you will be recruited and trained in the areas of administration, machine operation, and finance as plenipotentiary delegate. It is also my duty to inform you of the projects to be conducted in the area of education, transport, and granted housing. Any questions? An old farmer raised his hand and asked, "But what will happen with us elders? Some of us inhabited these lands since before the Great Patriotic War. Are you just going to put us aside to promote your industrial agriculture? Let us live in peace. I assure you, sir, that no one will be forced out of their property under my vigilance. Instead, you will be greatly benefited by our project to bring healthcare and assistance to the province." Any other questions? As the meeting proceeded and things were further explained, the local mood changed rapidly from aggressive to supportive. Dimitrov would meet with modernity in the same way as thousands of other towns and cities all the way within the territory of the former Reichskommissar Moscovian. No longer blinded by ignorance, the Russian farmer can behold prosperity now and for years to come. Excellent. Let's go ahead and rebuild some western cities then. As the all-Russian army marched westward, many Muscovites were turned into battlefields. Muscovite cities were turned to battlefields between our brave sons and the Wehrmacht. As a result, a numerous amount of these cities were damaged, with many Muscovites losing their homes in the fighting. Our mission is more than simply liberating all of Russia from tyranny, but bringing them to a Russia where they can live good lives. It's of the utmost importance that we support the Muscovites in their reconstruction efforts to ensure that these once ruined cities can be restored to their former glory, and that all Russians have a place to call home. There we go. Beautiful. All right. Got some good old corn going on. That's probably the best fate for Portugal, if I'm honest. Best of the two. I'm surprised it went on for that long, though. Jeez. There go the end of the Iberian Wars. I'll look at working on Marines, why not? I don't know if we'll really use them, but nice for roleplay, at least. As dawn broke over the eastern horizon, the sky was filled with a soft pink light. Valery was already awake, pulling his black coat tight around his body in an attempt to stave off the morning chill. His old beaten shoes drummed awkwardly on the footpath, and he could feel the cold seeping through the leather jacket already. He just smiled, however. How could he not? There was a familiar smell of sweet flowers in the air, and the jewel-like glow of fresh green leaves. Russia was in bloom once more, and Valery swelled of joy that he lived to see it. Not so long ago, any dreams of an ended occupation had seemed far off and fragile. The very joy of life that Valery savored now had been sealed under lock and key in iron freights and deported away in the black heart of the Reich. When the Federation had spread its wings and crossed the Reich's border, Valery and so many others had cowered in the darkness, afraid to join their Eastern brothers for fear of the retribution that the fear would wreak upon the Russian Federation after beating the armies of Russia once more. The Federation's defeat had never come, however. All across western Russia, similar scenes of ecstasy erupted like blossoms. From the forests of Pskov to the wild plains of Orel, 1,000 Valerys leapt to their feet to aid in the reconstruction. Valery felt his old joints creak as he heaved buckets of wet concrete. He felt his feet drag ever so slightly as he hurried to help. But as he and 12 other Russians pulled on a rope, tearing the swastika down from above Smolensk City Hall, he felt a return of emotion long forgotten. Pride. The path would belong, and he would surely not live to see it complete, but he knew that one day Russia would shine brighter than any star in the night sky. And the graveyard shall bloom with flowers, just as Russia's wounds had quickly recovered. Oh, that is nice. Let's get some more tank stuff going. Let's go ahead and encourage foreign investment here, then. The reconstruction of Muscovite cities is slowly helping the region recover, but without any foreign investment, Muscovy will not be able to become as an economic competitive and innovative Central Siberia or the Volga, which encourage investors from America and Japan to set up businesses in the healing lands of Muscovy to help the troubled region recover and to achieve the same level of prosperity as the rest of the Federation. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Trying to remember, I think there were some areas here that were sort of German majority, I want to say. I'm trying to remember which ones those were. I'm selecting all of them like it's going to pull up, but I don't quite know how they will appear if they end up doing that. And, I mean, I saw with this that the cultures were swapped to this. So it's not like I could just click and look over. I'll just have to keep an eye on this then, I think. Encourage foreign investment. Alexei woke to the commotion of voices that came from outside his tent. He took a look outside, and a large crowd wrapped a newly placed board. A voice called to him, "Alexei, I've got something to show you." Alexei struggled to keep his eyes open, sleeping on a few rags placed on the flat earth was far from an actual bed, but he knew better than to complain. Life in a temporary residence encampment was already far better than living under German rule. When his eyes did open, there was a piece of paper held by Oleg's limp wrist right in front of him. I got to it first, another set of potential development programs with future career paths. I chatted up one of the workers who set up the board. Alexei scanned the paper and read out loud. Computer science. Courses in teaching new standardized computer programming to make Russia truly a great technological wonderland. With coding, you can make programs of the future. Sponsored by the New Millennia Government Program in conjunction with Microsoft. Those interested are free to sign up in their nearest career acquisition office. Alexei looked up at Oleg and said in an exhausted voice, "It will sure be a lot more interesting than what the others want, working in the steel mines or your concrete factory." "Well, come on then, Alexei. Let's beat the line." So President Shukshin said, "The future is in our hands." Alexei rolled his eyes as he joined his friend, barely beating the rush from the crowd. "We're interested in the path to a new millennia program, about the computers." The soldier, a member of the All-Russian Army garrison, looked up and asked for Alexei's name and identification card. Once the soldier finished his questioning, Alexei had a feeling he wasn't quite used to. He felt hope. He was going to learn to code and build the future on his terms, hopefully spreading joy and happiness for his work. Alexei scoffed, smiling as he recalled the quote Oleg had used. "The future is in our hands." Very, very nice. Let's go ahead and create new economic opportunities. Whilst modernization of agriculture in Muscovy is a great first step in developing these broken lands, it will be through the powerful fist of industrialization that will transform this Eastern European backwater into the economic industrial heart of the Russian Federation. Already, several companies have requested to build new factories in these lands and are ripe with the opportunity. Many of the ruined factories that had existed during the days of the old Union can be easily rebuilt within weeks and offer jobs to millions of Muscovites who were left jobless following the war. The people of Muscovy require new opportunities to accelerate its economic development, and the Russian Federation shall deliver. Sweet stuff. I mean, we'll eventually get working to nukes, it seems. I was told that there is a super event for when we develop nukes. That's going to be fun to see. But we'll get to that when we get to that. In the meantime, let's get working on infrastructure here. Because I do know, at the very least, we'll be integrating the West Russian Reclamation Authority. I think the Volga as well, although I think that's already developed. So we do want to build that up a little bit. Not that we won't build up the others, but we do want to start building up this. And then from there, let's do that a little at a time, but I don't think I really care at this point. From there, we kind of decide really what we want to do. Let's make political concessions to the opposition, get some extra political power. Do that, why not? I'm trying to think of, because they're setting up, you know, this is the optimistic one, so I'm wondering if they, whenever they add content to the mod for Grishkin, if they would just, I don't know, bulldoze Moscow down. Because that would be a, you know, a pretty interesting contrast. Let's go ahead and get the economic miracle going. The Federation's combined efforts in rebuilding the West Russian Reconstruction Zone, both rebuilding and industrializing, as well as foreign investments from primarily the US of A, an economic miracle is a curve in Muscovy as beyond economy. What the fuck? I started to go. Started to get a word salad there for a second. As the economy has begun to boom, reaching record highs not seen in decades. Already, millions of people have been lifted out of poverty as new jobs opportunities appear with each passing day. With the region finally overcoming its economic stagnation that came with its subjugation, Muscovy is quickly approaching the reintegration into our glorious motherland. Anna trudged through the snow to the newly made market. After the last one was bombed during the fighting, her district Yaroslav was designated to priority reconstruction, so it was no surprise when the new marketplace was announced. What did surprise her was the dingy old marketplace that was replaced by more than a few stills. Instead of stalls, the marketplace was replaced by an actual building. It had bright lights assorted in the colors of Federation. As soon as she stepped across the threshold inside, she immediately felt a wall of heat. After experiencing the heat, something even her home struggled to get, she looked down at what was aisles of food items and goods. The shock of equality was only beaten by the prices she saw. First on the list was caviar, followed by kvass, and then a myriad of other food goods. When total came up, it was significantly cheaper than what her family had been paying before. She pulled out cash for the total. The lady behind the register, dressed in severe clothing, started conversation. Miss, I'm obliged to let you know that we're looking for more people to hire. Our more qualified staff are moving from the different locations to help start up various stores throughout the liberated territories. Anna pondered. It would be nice to find a warmer place during the winters. The pay would mean the family wouldn't need to depend on her parents' funds. I would love to. Is there any time you would want me to come in for an interview or even training? Anna wrote her name down, and time she would be able to come in, and she left the Sabir store as a sales associate. Maybe she could even get her sister something nice. Well, that's nice, and it's a nice place to leave off here, because I gotta run, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you as always for watching. To all YouTube people, if you like this video, leave a like. If not, feel free to dislike. Comments, feedback, concerns are down. Leave them in the comment section below. If you have any, if you want to chat, play games, anything of the sort, check out the Discord. If you want to see me do the sort of live, including this very series, check out my Twitch. If you want to send a few bucks my way of month by Patreon, all which are down in the description box below. That's really it for now, boys. Thank you as always for watching. My name has been DB333, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.